There are journeys not meant for the living. In Greek mythology, the underworld, ruled by Hades, is not a place of fire and brimstone. It is a realm of silence, depth, and solemnity. A place where every soul must pass, kings, warriors, and common folk alike, once life slips away. But some dared to cross its shadowy threshold while still breathing. Some went for love, some for courage, some were deceived, and some returned, with eyes that never looked the same again. This is the story of those who descended into Hades while their hearts still beat. Who among them made it back? Who was lost forever? And what is the price of challenging the boundary between life and death? Heracles, the man who entered the underworld like a god. If Orpheus descended into the underworld with a lyre and tears, then Heracles, the mighty son of Zeus, went down with fists strong enough to shatter chains and a courage that feared no shadow. This was not a journey of love. It was an impossible mission. And Heracles, as always, took it on as a declaration. No place, not even the land of the dead, can bar the path of a true hero. This was the 12th and final labor in the legendary 12 labors of Heracles, penance for the madness inflicted by Hera that drove him to slay his own wife and children. King Eurystheus, the man who ordered these labors, thought he had finally devised a death sentence. Heracles must descend into Hades, seize Cerberus, the monstrous three-headed hound guarding the gates, and bring it back to the world of the living. No weapons allowed. No killing. Only raw strength. Heracles agreed. Without hesitation, he journeyed into the earth, through caverns that led to Tartarus, the darkest depths of the underworld, where wicked souls are imprisoned for eternity. The spirits there shrank from him. None dared block the man who carried the scent of life into the realm of death. At the river Styx, he faced Charon, the ferryman. Charon refused at first. Heracles was still alive. But a burning gaze and a clenched fist ready to strike convinced him otherwise. For the first time ever, a mortal crossed the Styx without a coin. Inside the underworld, Heracles met Hades himself. But the god of the dead did not rage. He saw who stood before him, a being beyond mere mortality. Hades gave only one condition: do not harm Cerberus. If you can subdue him, take him. So Heracles descended into Cerberus's lair. 3 heads, each roaring like thunder, eyes glowing crimson, claws sharper than daggers. Cerberus had never lost a battle against damned souls. But today it faced Heracles. The clash between life and death erupted. Cerberus bit, slammed, shrieked. But Heracles did not falter. With bare hands, he choked one head, pinned the other 2, and wrestled the beast to the blood-chilled ground. And then, with one final howl, Cerberus submitted. Wounded but unyielding, Heracles dragged the monstrous hound out of the underworld, crossed the Styx once more, and returned to the world above, leaving gods and mortals alike in awe of his unmatched power. From that day on, only one living man had entered the realm of the dead and emerged with a trophy. And Heracles was more than a hero. He became a symbol of human will, strong enough to face death itself, where love, madness, and despair had all failed before. Orpheus and Eurydice, a love song echoing through the underworld. Some love stories need no wars, no blood oaths, to become eternal. Sometimes, all it takes is a lyre, and a pain too deep for words. Orpheus, son of Calliope, the muse of epic poetry and a Thracian king, needed no royal blood to stand out. His music alone was enough. It flowed like wind, ran deep as the sea, and mourned like the final sunset of summer. They say when Orpheus sang, forests fell silent, birds paused mid-flight, and even stones shed tears. And then he loved Eurydice, forest nymph, radiant as an autumn dawn, eyes clear as morning mist, a smile that made wild deer forget to run. They had no grand wedding, only a gentle love song, with nature itself as witness. But in Greek myth, love rarely ends in peace. One day, while Eurydice wandered a meadow, a serpent hidden beneath dry leaves struck. Death came without warning, quiet as wind, swift as a snapped string. She fell, her eyes still wide with wonder, not yet fear. And just like that, she was gone, leaving Orpheus shattered, in a world where music no longer meant anything. But Orpheus would not accept fate. No screams, no curses at the gods. He simply took up his lyre and walked into the underworld. No one had done this before, not as a warrior defying death, but as a lover pleading to see her once more. And the underworld trembled. As Orpheus crossed the black gates, his music rose, so haunting that Cerberus, the three-headed hound, lay down and closed its eyes. The river Lethe, where souls forget their past lives, stilled to glass. Shadows paused. Sorrow's centuries old fell silent. Orpheus entered the throne hall of Hades and Persephone. He did not kneel. He did not beg. He simply sang, with the soul of a man who had lost his reason to live. They say, for the first time, Hades wept. And Persephone, once a captive bride of the underworld, took her husband's hand and whispered, "Give them a chance." Hades agreed. Eurydice may return, but only if Orpheus led her out without looking back. Not once, not even for a heartbeat of doubt. And so they walked. He led. She followed. In silence. In a tension so tight it could shatter. For Orpheus could not hear her footsteps. He dared not call her name. Each step forward was a leap of faith through the thin veil between heaven and hell. And then, light appeared at the end of the tunnel. Just a few more steps. But in that fragile moment, doubt broke through. He turned. In an instant, Eurydice vanished, drawn back into the shadows like mist. This time, there would be no second chance. No song could move death twice. Orpheus emerged from the underworld, alone, empty-handed, heart hollow, and for the rest of his life, he never sang a love song again. Persephone, queen of the underworld and the unfinished springs. If Orpheus brought song into the underworld, and Heracles struck it with the force of life, then Persephone became its sovereign through tragedy, a soul torn between two worlds, the earth above and the shadows below, between light and darkness, between blooming spring and the despair of winter. She was the daughter of Demeter, goddess of agriculture and abundance. A radiant maiden, innocent and gentle, often wandering through fields of flowers where the wind sang and butterflies danced, as if all of nature adored her. Until one day, the earth cracked open, and from its depths, Hades, the god of the underworld, burst forth in a chariot of black horses like thunder incarnate. No question, no mercy. He seized Persephone and dragged her into the shadows below. And thus began the fate of a goddess, the silence of the underworld, and the tears upon the earth. Demeter was devastated. She wept, roamed the world in grief, and with her sorrow came withering crops, cracked soil, and dying harvests. Famine spread across the land. Even the gods on Olympus felt hunger creeping to their gates. Zeus, Persephone's father, had to act. He sent Hermes to the underworld to bring her back. But Hades offered no resistance. Instead, he laid a trap, sweet as the love he bore her, a pomegranate. For in the laws of the dead, anyone who tastes the food of the underworld must remain there forever. In her longing and confusion, Persephone had eaten 6 crimson seeds, bright as spilled blood. And from that moment on, she belonged to both realms. A pact and the curse of seasons. To appease both Demeter and Hades, Zeus forged a strange compromise. Persephone would spend 6 months of the year with her mother and 6 with her husband. Thus came the cycle. When Persephone returns to the surface, spring and summer bloom. Fields blossom, wheat ripens, and life overflows. But when she descends again, Demeter mourns. Winter falls. Snow blankets the land. The earth falls silent, mourning with a mother's broken heart. Persephone, the dual-natured goddess. She was no longer the innocent girl of spring. In the shadows, Persephone grew strong. No longer just a victim, she became queen of the underworld, ruling beside Hades, judging souls, and knowing the full weight of human sorrow. She became the embodiment of life's duality, soft, yet stern, loving, yet cold. A bridge between beginnings and endings, between light and the void. The tragedy of Persephone is not death itself, but separation. She can never fully belong to one world, never stand completely in a mother's love or a husband's embrace. Aeneas, the Trojan heir and the prophecy beneath the earth. Not all who fall are forgotten. And Aeneas, the noble hero of Troy, stands as proof of that truth. When Troy burned in a sea of fire, when its walls crumbled and cries echoed across the sky, one man walked away from the ashes, his aged father on his back, his young son at his side, carrying with him the fate of a future empire. But before Rome could rise from the dust, before its destiny could be etched in marble and shaped in myth, Aeneas had to descend into the underworld, to seek a prophecy, confront the past, and glimpse what was yet to come. The sacred flame and the gate to the dead. After a storm-ridden journey haunted by Hera's wrath, Aeneas reached Cumae, the land of seers and omens. There he met the Sibyl, priestess of Apollo, guardian of the gate to the underworld. But entry came at a price, the divine golden bough, a branch that only fate could reveal. With unwavering courage and divine guidance, Aeneas found the golden leaf shining in the sacred woods, a flicker of hope in the shadows. The gate opened, and Aeneas stepped into Hades, not just as a warrior, but as the bearer of destiny. Beyond death, darkness, and revelation. In the depths of the underworld, Aeneas beheld the river Acheron, where Charon, the gaunt ferryman, rode souls across mist-veiled waters. He saw the restless dead, children lost too soon, souls who took their own lives, fallen soldiers with forgotten names, each carrying a tale unfinished. And then he found his father. Anchises waited in the Elysian fields, the realm of the blessed. Their reunion was not tears and grief, but teaching and legacy. Anchises revealed not what was lost, but what would be. He showed his son the spirits of Rome's future. Romulus, Caesar, Augustus, names destined to carve history into stone and lead a people to glory. In that moment, Aeneas understood. His journey was not escape. It was preparation for a calling far greater than himself. As he prepared to return, he saw two gates of dream. One of horn, where true visions pass, and one of ivory, where illusions drift like fog. And strangely, Aeneas chose the gate of ivory, a silent metaphor for the human world, where dreams and truth are forever intertwined. Aeneas did not simply return. He came back transformed, with a vision of destiny, a heart burdened with legacy, and eyes that had seen the future. And that is why the Romans revere him, not merely as a hero, but as their first father, the man who walked through death and returned bearing light. Footsteps into the underworld, humanity's journey through death and faith. From Orpheus descending with a lyre to reclaim lost love, to Heracles dragging Cerberus through shadows with chains, or Aeneas wandering through sulphurous air to understand his empire's fate. Each journey into the underworld in Greek mythology is never meaningless. It is the ultimate test of the human spirit, a place where titles mean nothing, weapons are useless, and cleverness cannot save you. There, only will, truth, and darkness remain. And it is in that cursed realm, called hell by many, that we find the deepest lessons of life, about survival, sacrifice, love, and the fragile boundaries of the self. Because every time a mythic figure crosses into the land of the dead, we, the living, are reminded to treasure life more deeply, to love more fiercely, and to live more consciously. The underworld is not just a place souls go after death. It is a metaphor, a space each of us, mortal or divine, must enter at least once, not with the body, but with the soul. And whether we are as fortunate as Orpheus or Aeneas, or as doomed as Pirithous, the lesson remains: not all who go down return, but those who do are never the same. Subscribe and join me in exploring these mythic journeys, where truth, wisdom, and emotion merge to become epic.